Welcome to This Just In, the show bringing you the latest advancements in healthcare, strategy, innovation, and public policy. And now, for the fastest voice in healthcare, here's your host, Justin Barnes.
Welcome back to This Just In Radio Show, broadcasting live from Georgia HIMSS annual conference in sunny Atlanta, the health IT capital of America. Very excited to introduce my next guest, a longtime good friend, Mr. Mike Mosquito, head of enterprise automation integration, Fox Rehab, and communications chair for Georgia HIMSS.
Yes, sir.
It's a long title. Love you, brother.
You
always have a long title.
There's a lot going on. There's a lot going on.
Always. We love to talk about that. First of all, today's been action-packed and fun for you?
Busy. Our largest attendee conference I think we've had today. It's been great.
Yeah.
New location, a lot of new faces, a lot of new partners and vendors on the floor. So it's awesome.
Amazing energy, great speakers, great innovators and leaders here. And over 500 people. So I was actually, doing some of the math. I think that is the largest annual conference, certainly for a regional chapter that I'm aware of.
Yes, I think so. I think we've eclipsed what we've ever seen here in Georgia, and I attend a lot of other conferences, and I know they put a lot of numbers together, but this is, I think, we pulled out of state, in state, around the state together.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I came up from Florida. I wouldn't miss it for the heck of it. I also, just so you know, this is a large ballroom. It was hard to find a chair to sit for the keynote. You and I barely found a chair together for lunch. And I heard some of the sessions are over full where people can't sit down.
My sessions, I had 3 track sessions already. The 4th is going on right now, and they've been standing room only.
Yeah, that's a good problem to have. And that's exciting because a lot of things are shifting in this industry, but it's kind of cool to see how Georgia HIMSS stays out in front. Even Hal brought up this morning from main stage of how progressive we are as a HIMSS Association, regionally, how many awards the Georgia HIMSS Association has, or the chapter has won. So it's exciting.
Yeah, we stay at the forefront of keeping up with what we're doing as a chapter, make sure we're promoting our events so that we can raise that money for these scholarships around the state. These students come to us with a mission to join us in healthcare, and so this chapter raises that money every year, all year long. We do it all year long. Yeah,
and then also, as Hal mentioned last night at dinner, society. We are truly a society. We lean on each other, we learn from each other, we help each other. It's really cool. And it's a society that's open to everybody, though.
It is. It is. We're very collaborative in that way. And I urge the partners that come to me like, hey, I'd like to do more. I'm like, well, then get involved, get engaged.
That's right.
A lot of us that you see, they see you and I together. Like, oh, how do you know Justin? Like, I've known Justin for over 20 years.
Exactly.
So it's not like
We're in the trenches together.
Yeah, he fly by night here. This is one of those where if you're in healthcare, the executives want to see you engaging. They want to see you at the events that we're at, the Meet the Board events coming up. So if you want to come out and meet one of the board members, one of the CIOs, you got to come to those events and engage.
That's very true. And learn. I mean, I think also one of my biggest things is you and I, we have our hands on a lot of stuff. We meet a lot of people. We talk, but you know what? These sessions now, I'm learning a ton. It's also time to educate ourselves and get back in and learn, because we go to these places, we tend to talk a lot, but now it's also, there's so much happening. It's good to listen a lot. So I think that's what I love to get out of not only today, but then also the National HIMSS Conference, March 9th, HIMSS 26 will be back around in Las Vegas. You and I will be there. We'll certainly do a show together, absolutely out there. But that's what, there's so much to learn. I mean, you're hearing like ambient listening. So let's dive in a little bit on the technology side. Okay. Or what progress, before we dive into technology specifically, what progress are you most excited to see in the industry today?
The education around AI, not just the word, not just the application, I've got something for you, but the education, elevated to the next level. I just finished a session out in Colorado for another conference, and I gave a pre-conference workshop on preparing for 2030 in your job today. And the education that's going to be required for you to either keep your job or elevate yourself to the next level in your job.
There you go.
And that's required, right? If you want to be in this high-tech, high-fast-paced, whatever industry you're in, but especially in healthcare, because there's so much information out there, good and bad, about AI. We know it's doing some good.
Absolutely.
We know it has the capacity to do bad. The actors in the room have to have the ability to notice and notify when that's going on. So I'm most excited to see that education level elevated and use case being elevated with the consciousness that the human in the room is the guiding force behind the technology.
Right. That alone is a best practice too. You got to have a human in the loop, I think is one of the terms.
That's exactly right.
Very important. So I just published a playbook on AI, and that's actually one of them. You got to have a human in the loop is a best practice, but you got to start, you got to dabble, start small in a lot of cases. I heard some big numbers today about things great on large accomplishments, but you also don't want, you want to take this very methodically, research, know the problem that you're solving for,
Right.
and be very methodical about that.
And I think that a lot of the partners I educate, I'll be in health. I think you're going out to health as well.
Absolutely, my friend.
And I think I educate a lot of companies that are coming in, that are coming online, and new startups on have a problem that you're solving for. Don't say I have technology.
Right.
That's not getting you anywhere in this current landscape.
Right.
You've got to be solving a problem. Money pays for problems to be eliminated. That way it blocks. It's a blocker, right? Remove the blockers.
Yep.
And when you remove blockers, then you have efficiency, throughput, patient engagement. All of these things go up, they rise.
Yep.
And so I think that we have to come to a place in our society of healthcare of how do we move to that next level of education and problem solving with these new tools.
Yeah. So what innovations out there are you most excited about?
You know, Justin, I saw something that wasn't even that advanced a few weeks ago in Miami. A doctor decided he wanted to become an entrepreneur. He gets a patent on this new technology using the iPhone you have in your pocket. He's able to see inside your ear and start recording the history of your inner ear, because we all know your inner ear and ear problems lead to other falls, dementia. It's been tied to so many different things,
Right.
your hearing. And he now can actually clean ears safely with this new tool with zero training. He sits in front of you, he shows you how to use it, and anyone can use this new tool. It is one of the most fascinating, it blew my mind.
Yeah.
And we put him on our show while we were down in Miami. I could not believe this doctor sat back and solved a problem using an iPhone. He hooks it to this device. He leaves otoscope, I think is what they call it, that goes in the ear. And he's able to now record your entire history, and you can take it with you. Wow. So we see technology like that are using our tools that we have every day around us. We see predictive medicine coming online. I'm really interested to see how do we take predictive medicine global and start solving. We heard Hal talk about that this morning, right?
Yep.
That is exciting. It should be exciting for folks that are in these treatment programs, and they can see a doctor in Europe has this population of people that are similar to this population here in the U.S. And now with these large algorithms, I can now assimilate a model that can solve problems between them, because different continents, right, have collaborated. I'm looking forward to that collaboration that goes.
Yeah, actually, I mean, the guest before Ovi was Jeff Buda, and we talked about that exactly, what AI is going to bring to predictive medicine and really, truly bringing in personalized medicine, social determinants of health. What's your history in putting all this together? But now you're talking about on a global scale. This is, we're talking about some of our communities in general in healthcare in America, but actually absolutely on a global scale. So very cool. What do you think about, I mean, we've heard some really cool stats. I've heard some really cool stats today about ambient listening, even in the exam room. I mean, it's really cool stuff. What are your thoughts there?
I really think you're going to see that stat blow through the roof. Before doctors were skittish about it, I think now they realize that the time saved, the engagement model with the patients is at a higher level. Patients are now aware that, doc, do whatever that thing you do with the thing that's listening to us, as they say. And I think that you're going to see that engagement model for doctors go through the roof. They're going to want more. They're going to command more from that IT team in that vein, because they know it's working for them. And those that are skittish about it, they may be laggards, but I think they'll eventually come along.
Oh, absolutely.
But I think that technology has provided a new landscape for our doctors and clinicians that need it. It's been long overdue for the labor-intensive environment in that exam room.
You know who, a good friend of ours, and certainly a person you've recently worked with, very impressed. We had an amazing show earlier today. Is Chris Paravate, what he's built at Northeast Georgia.
Amazing.
It is amazing. He's a phenomenal leader, but you can tell how phenomenal leaders build amazing organizations.
Yes, and he drinks the Kool-Aid himself.
He does.
While he's passing it out.
Yeah.
And everyone, just to watch Chris work is amazing.
Yeah.
Because he grew up in that organization.
Right.
He grew up from being support.
Yep.
And I'm gonna give you. So I joined Northeast Georgia. I get my credentials. I'm at Chime Fall Forum. Something due to error of mine or something, I blew away my entire Northeast Georgia profile on my phone while being out of the office. And Chris had told me something I wanted to do with the ServiceNow practice. And he paused me. He goes, Mike, I grew up in this organization. He said, when you call our support desk, it's an experience.
Right.
I need you to experience what we built here at Northeast Georgia. I was like, I didn't understand that at first. Like, experience, support desk?
Right.
I called the support desk at Northeast Georgia because I'm out of town.
Yeah.
Within under a minute.
Yeah.
I get my reply back.
Yeah.
They've already engaged. They know who I am.
Yeah.
They ask me my problem. They give me a time they're going to call me back for research and to get me back online. Within 10 seconds on either side of that time, my phone was ringing.
Yeah.
They knew who I was, my problem. They gave me my prompts to load. They pushed to my device, and I was back online.
Yeah.
And it was an experience. It was
right.
what he told me.
Yeah, yeah.
It was an experience. And I had to call him while I was out there. I said, I know you're on your way out here to be at the event with me. I said, but I get it.
Yeah.
I get what you've built.
That's right.
And so when
That's
leaders show you what they've done and why they've done it a certain way, and it's not because, I've been sold this software, but I want my end user to feel it. That's when you know that leader really means good for the organization and for the community they're building.
Yeah. Very well said. Closing second, big question, a minute or so. What's a strategy or trend that we have to be ready to navigate in 2 to 3 years now? Where should we be looking down the road? Where the puck's going to be?
Where the puck's going to be is how many clinicians and physicians and patients will be collaborating over these new tools, and how do we get them there? But how do we get access to that information? I don't think we have the infrastructure wholly breaked out yet for our rural communities, and I think we need to get that puck down that road.
That's actually a great point.
I really think we're talking all this great tech, but most of our population in Georgia is rural.
Right. Well,
and most of America,
yeah, is rural.
Right, is
yeah,
rural,
absolutely.
and so we're only talking about the populous areas that have high speed and gig networks, and we've got to put that puck where these people are, and it's in the rural communities. We've got to address that. That's where our patients need us.
Yeah.
That's where our technology needs to be, and we need to have our vendors, Comcast, Charter, Spectrum, AT&T. They need to come along this ride and help us figure out how to put that puck in those communities.
That's good, yeah. And there's also, they've been given money. I mean, there's 10 billion here, 15 billion there. There's money out there for them to do that. So I agree, we got to invest in those infrastructures. Yeah, I mean, even our keynote at lunchtime talked about how he didn't have internet that last mile in Oklahoma.
That's it, that's it.
And that's exactly, so that was a while ago, and it's still, to your point, today. Fall forum, so closing second, Fall Forum, well, HLTH in a couple weeks, and then, you're leaving somewhere else even now.
Yeah, so I go from here, I go to my conference, which is Future of Care Spaces. And then I go right into health. Then I go right into Fall Forum, where I keynote in 4th day at Fall Forum. And then I think I get a little bit of a break. And then I come back, I think I'm doing like another HIMSS event in LA, and then I'll be here for our Georgia HIMSS closing event for the year.
Amen, brother. Mike Mosquito, so great to see you, as always.
Great to see you, Justin.
And
Thank
I'll see you in 10 days in Vegas.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Brother. Thank you.
Thank you.
Welcome back to This Justin Radio Show, broadcasting live from the Georgia HIMSS Annual Conference in Atlanta, the health IT capital of America. Very excited to introduce my next guest and great friend of the show, Matt Ethington, founder and CEO of ChronicCareIQ. Welcome to the show, my friend. Welcome back.
Thank you. Always good to see you.
Always great to see you, my friend. So first, before we dive into some of these fun questions, what do you most enjoy about days like today? Not only the annual conference, but HIMSS, the Georgia HIMSS in general. You and I were talking about some of this off air and just the energy and excitement to be here, but also the learning. But what are some of your thoughts?
So my first impression was really the talent that health IT is now drawing, the capability, the people that are presenting with their plans, et cetera. I think health IT, when I started in it, was kind of this place where people wound up, not where people went. And
Good
so really impressive presentations today and projects that are being done.
Yep.
Yeah, I
Agree.
think that was probably my first impression.
And how many, you usually come to these annual conferences every year. I mean, obviously a lot of good friends in the area. And I mean, we were talking about a lot of this off air about how we get a lot from this community, because this community feeds off each other and it really helps each other. We're very supportive, educationally, strategy, but also products, technology, innovation. So, when you come to a day like today, what do you want to get out of it? What's the biggest thing that you want to get out of today?
Well, I came here today specifically to hear what others were doing, right? To learn what else is happening. So that was my goal being here. And then, of course, support Georgia HIMSS as a Georgia-based company. And it's ironic that you asked, because I was thinking I should start mandating 2 of these a year for the leadership team, because it is so impressive, right? Even the vendors here, like cruising the booths. I just came out of a virtual nursing
That's right.
seminar, and I love it.
Yeah. No, I just, I did that. So there's a couple of things I would mandate with my teams is attending numerous, different conferences that are relevant to their path, their career track, but also certain readings. There's some great publications that cut through the noise in the industry. I look forward to, so I push that onto my teams as well. So they're all, every day we learn a little bit. We talk about it. Sometimes we talk about it more formally. Sometimes we talk about it informally. But every day we're learning, and this has come up as a frequent topic on all my shows today. You get as much as you want out of these conferences because everything's here. So if you want to learn about something, you want to talk to somebody, you want to see a best practice, you want to see a strategy, it is here. It's under this roof today. It's at the annual conference for HIMSS nationally, but also certainly the Georgia one. I think is the largest regional chapter annual conference out there. Over 500 people here today. People are all starting to pile in now, so it's exciting to see. So obviously in your support, our support for the community, I flew up from Sarasota to make sure that I supported today, support all the great innovations that you guys you're creating personally, but also the industry. So on that note, what progress are you most excited to see in the industry today? What's happening out there that you're most excited about, proud of?
So what I noticed from Hal's presentation this morning, and then the seminar that I just came out with, is that healthcare systems are adopting innovation.
They are.
Right? It seemed like in the past it took a crowbar, a hammer, and Congress, right, to get. But 3 large health systems in Georgia just presented at the innovation seminar that I was just in.
Yep.
Virtual nursing.
Right.
They literally have virtual nurses, cameras, LiDAR to detect movement in a room to prevent falls. And not just one, but 3 of them.
Right.
And their projects are done. They've rolled them out. They've got outcomes. They've got measured statistics, and they've got documented improvement. So that is that's extremely rewarding because as Hal said when he presented, it's almost like the movement towards the healthcare system of the future is happening outside of healthcare,
Right.
and people are just adopting it and moving forward. And I think that really was a lightning rod type of realization, like, oh my gosh, he's right.
Yeah. And Hal brought up from stage this morning also about how you've got to really look at the right technology for your healthcare system. You got to understand what do you need? What problems are you trying to solve? You can't just layer on AI or technology innovation on top of a process that may not be perfected, and also perfected for technology and innovation, not, because so you're enabling, if you had a messed or a bad process and you layer AI into that, you're gonna have a much worse process coming up. It's gonna enable much worse things. So that is actually a really key best practice that many people are not paying probably enough attention to, but you really wanna redesign what you're doing, redesign your care strategy. Almost every one of my guests, we've talked about that this morning. And you know that from your care management, what you guys do and your leaders in your space. You don't just throw technology on top of what they're already doing. You need to redesign, look at that care strategy, and help augment what you're doing, but then also enable a much better care, a much higher quality of care. So, from your standpoint, innovation, what are you most proud of with what your company and your team is achieving? Because you're making demonstrable changes. You and I offline have crunched some of the numbers. You might have the leading chronic care management platform in the country. So, and you're obviously enable phenomenal care because you have the outcomes as well. But what are you most proud of when you look at what you guys are accomplishing there?
Thanks for asking. This month we look at numbers at the beginning of every month.
Yeah.
We're just a few hundred patients away from 315,000 patients. And you know my story about how hard it is to be sick with something you can't fix. Right? You got to keep it between the lines or it gets really bad. Right?
Yep.
So the type 1 that I live with since I was 30 years old is similar to the heart failure patients, the comorbidity, polypharmacy patients, and their own health management becomes such a big issue. So what we've seen, what the Medicare data shows, is that adoptions of these systems are starting to become more sticky because they're more embedded into the system, into the workflow. It's not just send a patient home with a blood pressure cuff and get paid for 16 points of data. We're moving more into virtual patient management. So a lot of the innovation gets focused around utilization and utilization to prevent cost. we, Chronic Care IQ is a little bit earlier than that. We're focused on the patient suffering to prevent the need for utilization. And Medicare has just been so strong with their reimbursements around care management that it's now it's a legitimately profitable and viable enterprise in terms of operations, profitability, relieving stress and burden on overworked staff and providers, and dramatically the increases in patient satisfaction. So we've exceeded 700 practices, and the number one thing we hear is that we hear from administrators, is it increases patient referrals. So who would have thought, right? I'm trying to keep people from getting so sick and so worried they show up at the ED, and now all of a sudden it's really organic and it's good, and it's good all the way around.
Yeah, and I think almost every guest has brought up this morning on the need to augment even some of the reimbursement cuts that are coming up, and the number one way to augment those cuts is by chronic care management. So, and you guys, you're seeing that with your practices. If you're not engaged in chronic care management in some capacity, Hal brought it up, how almost everybody in this room will have some type of chronic condition, when they get older. Some of us have it already now, and some will have it certainly in the future. But if you're not managing this from a health system perspective, if you're not engaged in these types of models, not only are you not providing the very best care for your patients, but you also you're leaving hundreds of thousands, millions and millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars on the table. I know that you experienced that from your perspective. And so, it is right for your patients. It's right to help with the clinician burnout, but also you've got to augment the costs. And you got to be able to grow in that capacity. So I know you believe that, and you're witnessing that with your practice.
Yeah. So the number as of October 1st, doctors have generated over $280 million in care management reimbursements on our platform. I don't think most providers realize how lucrative
it is.
The time that they spend on it, it's an MA can be doing. So your MAs can literally be earning about $110 an hour for the practice. So Medicare has really created a pathway for it.
Yeah.
And I think that will continue to drive adoption, but it's new and it's different and it takes time, and the real adoption will happen when a doctor down the street is doing it and another doctor realizes hey, this isn't just one more thing I can spend money on.
Right.
It has benefits to operations, to clinical operations, to patient satisfaction, but and outcomes. Outcomes are so good.
Well, everything the doctors and nurses even went into care for, why they went into care and providing care, you enable that. Not only just the clinical side, the administrative side, the financial side. You allow them to grow. You allow them to do it, and do what they want to do, why they got into being providers in the first place, getting back to truly caring. And you brought up just the burnout and how you're helping with clinician burnout and really alleviating that type of stress, not only on the clinicians, but then also you're making just patients live a better life and have less stress in their process. So
the best way to say that, I think, is healthcare is communication, right? We have a whole toolbox full of procedures, full of pharmatherapies, full of recommendations for patients. But when somebody is prone to hospitalization and they're really sick, the thing that is best is knowing that your doctor has your back. And from the provider side, we task them saying, you've got to manage all these patients, right? This is just your big bundle and you've got to figure something out.
Right.
Well, that's hard. But when you have a red, yellow, green dashboard that says, hey, out of all your heart failure patients, these 6 have signaled something by the way they answered certain questions and they need help, that reinforces the reason that a doctor became a doctor and that a nurse is a nurse, because then they can get right to it. They can get right to those people needing help. And we've created so much administrative overhead in healthcare that we literally built barriers between doctors and patients. And so when you can communicate back and forth with the patient in a way that doesn't overwhelm the practice and in a way that's easy enough that the patient will participate, you can alleviate a lot of the symptoms that our administrative overhead is that are manifesting because of so much extra work
Yeah.
people in healthcare have to do to provide healthcare.
I know Medicare is doubling down. I mean, just for in the closing piece, they're doubling down on these types of investments. They know it's the right thing. All the outcomes say it. So, you're very well positioned, my friend. Matt, thank you for joining the show. Appreciate
Thank
your
you.
time and have a great rest of your conference here.
Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you to all my show participants and certainly the people here in the crowd, the listeners, all of my AMD and AWS are great supporters, and certainly Beth Friedman, Finn Partners, you guys are amazing, and the entire HIMSS Georgia board and leadership team for the opportunity to broadcast every single year here. And again, thank you to all my listeners. Please tune in weekdays at this show broadcast 2:30 p.m. Eastern, 11:30 a.m. Pacific. As always, you can find me on LinkedIn at Justin T. Barnes or track me on Twitter at HT Advisor. And use the hashtag ThisJustinRadio so we can respond to your comments from the show. If you missed any of this episode or want to hear more, all my shows are posted on YouTube, Spotify, Apple iTunes, Amazon Music, Megaphone, SoundCloud, iHeartRadio, and TuneIn.
You're everywhere, like Roy Kent.
Exactly. Yeah, right. That's great. Thanks, everyone, and that's a wrap. Have a great rest of your day.